Welcome to the podcast summary of Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis' story really does have a dramatic arc to it. It starts with her family arriving in Los Angeles from Soviet Ukraine with almost nothing, moves through a very young TV breakthrough, and then turns into a long effort to be taken seriously as more than a funny, glamorous sitcom star. And alongside the career wins, there's a more complicated public image story too. You've got activism that raised huge money for Ukraine, a long-running discomfort with being reduced to looks, and then a major backlash when personal loyalty collided with a criminal case in a very public way. Kunis's family left Chernivtsi for Los Angeles in 1991 on a religious refugee visa, carrying just $250. Her parents gave up professional careers because, as they saw it, there was no future for their kids in the Soviet Union. She was 7 when she arrived, and she's described that experience in very stark terms. She said it felt like being blind and deaf, which honestly gets the point across immediately. She didn't speak English, didn't understand the culture, and she said she barely remembers second grade because she cried every day. It's one of those details that makes later fame feel a lot less smooth and inevitable than people tend to assume. Her career started unusually fast. She booked a Barbie commercial on her first audition, which is the kind of sentence that sounds made up. But apparently that was the beginning. Then came that '70s show, and she landed it at 14 after misleading casting directors about her age. Producers eventually found out, but by then she was clearly the right Jackie Burkhart, so they kept her. Around 15, she also became the voice of Meg Griffin on Family Guy. Seth MacFarlane liked that her actual teenage voice sounded like a real teenager, which gave Meg a kind of natural credibility animated shows don't always get when grown adults are doing youth voices. That transition into film was not instantly graceful. Before the breakthrough, there were several poorly reviewed or low-profile projects, including American Psycho 2, Tony Nintina's Wedding, and Moving McAllister. The pivot was forgetting Sarah Marshall. That performance opened things up and helped shift her from familiar TV face into someone people could imagine carrying a film career. After that, the range became more obvious. Ted was a giant commercial hit, pulling in roughly $549 million worldwide. And then Black Swan brought the awards attention with Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild nominations. That combination matters because it's hard to get both. A lot of actors get filed away as either bankable and lightweight or respected and niche. She managed to make a case for both lanes. Black Swan didn't just change how people talked about her. It came with a pretty punishing physical overhaul. For the role, she trained in ballet 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, followed a 1,200-calorie daily diet, and lost 20 pounds, which she later regained after filming. That's a brutal routine, even before you get to the injuries. Production left her with a torn ligament and a dislocated shoulder. So when that performance helped break the idea that she was just a lightweight comedic actor, it wasn't some abstract image correction, it was earned the hard way. The role also won her the Marcello Mastroianni Award at Venice, which gave that reinvention some international weight, not just Hollywood buzz. A recurring tension in her career is the gap between how celebrity culture markets women and how an actor wants to be valued. Kunis pushed back on that pretty directly in 2008, warning that you can't build a career around landing high on men's magazine lists because looks fade. And yet the machine kept doing exactly that. She was named Esquire's Sexiest Woman Alive in 2012, FHM's World's Sexiest Woman in 2013, and became a face of Dior. That doesn't cancel out her success as an actor, but it shows the bind pretty clearly. She was trying to establish credibility while the branding around her kept selling a different, much easier story. Her activism has had real material impact, especially on Ukraine. In 2022, she and Ashton Kutcher ran a fundraiser that passed its $30 million goal, and they also pledged $3 million of their own money to support refugees. That was a high-profile effort, but not every public gesture landed cleanly. She also announced monthly Planned Parenthood donations in Mike Pence's name, which drew backlash and even sparked the hashtag #BoycottJimBeam because she was a global ambassador for the bourbon brand at the time. That episode says a lot about modern celebrity advocacy. Even when the cause is clear, the delivery can become its own story, especially once brand ties and internet outrage jump in. The biggest reputational hit came after Danny Masterson's rape conviction, when Kunis and Kutcher wrote character letters supporting their That 70s Show co-star. They described him as decent and generous, and the reaction was immediate and severe. Part of why it hit so hard is that both of them were associated with Thorn, a charity focused on child sexual exploitation. So the gap between that public identity and those letters looked glaring to a lot of people. After the backlash, they posted an apology video saying they supported victims. But by then, the damage was done, and the whole thing became a very visible example of what happens when celebrity friendship and public accountability collide in a case involving serious violence. Taken together, her story is a lot messier and more substantial than the old shorthand version of Mila Kunis. It's immigration, hustle, reinvention, image management, real advocacy, and some very public mistakes all in the same frame. And honestly, that probably makes it easier to understand her career than any glossy profile ever could. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.